a battle between state legislators and the Alabama High School Athletic Association, and we'll visit with the new mayor of Clay. Tribune Unscripted starts now. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us on this Thursday for Tribune Unscripted. I'm Brandon Dawkins with Tribune Digital Media, here with Scott Buttram, publisher of the Trustful Tribune. And, you mentioned last week that we're going to start visiting with some of our new mayors in the different areas who have recently been elected, and we're starting that today with the city of Clay.
Yeah, I think we decided to call it Meet the Mayor.
Did we decide to call it that?
Well, after you told me I couldn't call it I Elected Who, I thought that was a better title, more interesting. But
we don't have to title it.
We don't have to title it, but I am looking forward to it. And we met last week, Ben Short, who will be the new mayor here in Trustful. Mm-hmm. Big opportunity for a change. Buddy Choate's been in office for 9 years and was ready to ride off into the sunset. I guess after you build a downtown where there was not one, it'll wear you out.
Yep.
He needs to take a break now.
Yep.
But we've got another new mayor from the Tribune coverage area here today, one of her neighbors.
That's right. So Jane Anderton, thanks for joining us. You are the new mayor of Clay, and so we had you both in for the forums and saw and obviously covered the results the night of the election. And so welcome today. Thanks for coming by and visiting with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, so, Scott joked with you a little bit before it started about chasing something and catching it and then being like, okay, well, what's next? But what has the experience been like so far, just as you've gotten your feet under you a little bit and started to plan for this transition for the city?
Have I?
I get it.
The certificate of election was on Tuesday, and today's Thursday.
Yeah, you're right. So barely much time at all.
I did meet with the beginnings of my transition team last night, and am looking forward to working and recruiting some people to that. And we will start on our 100-day list and start reaching out to the city to see about getting some things, some information, so that we can hit the ground running on November 3rd.
I think it's fair to ask you, too, to kind of step back a little and ask you, what do you think? So this is, you did beat the incumbent, Charles Webster, who's been mayor of Clay for a long time.
3 or 4 terms.
And so what did you see as maybe what people were focused on in making an administrative change?
The main thing was transparency. People in Clay, many who would choose to be actively involved, did not feel like they were being heard, did not feel like the city was answering their questions. The website is not full of information, useful information. It's hard to navigate, so that'll be one of the first things that I do is I will audit that. Independent audit of that website and get that up and running so that we can have some transparency so that we can let some folks know some things that are going on in the city that they might not be aware of.
Okay.
Jane, there's always, I think anytime you go up against an incumbent and win, especially a long-term incumbent. I think Mayor Webster's been in there, if I'm correct, 3 terms, which was 10 years, I think, and I'd have to do the math, but I think he's been there 3 terms.
13 years.
13 years, that's right.
We had
because
the
there was a
extra
5th
Alabama
one
year.
in the current term. So you've got people who were loyal to him, who were comfortable with him. He's been running the city for quite a while. Then, of course, you've got the people who voted for you and voted for a change. As I look at the numbers, it was pretty evenly divided between the votes you got and the votes that Mayor Webster got. So obviously, one of the first things you've got to do is kind of pull the city back together.
That's right.
What steps will you take to make that happen?
Well, some of our changes will be pretty swift, and I think just that momentum, getting the attitudes, reaching out to the people who didn't vote for me. I'm still proud that they came out and voted and exercised their right to do that. And I think that as we move forward, I hope they'll get on board and give me a chance, because a lot of people, like you said, they're very loyal to him, and you do want loyalty in your citizens.
Sure.
So that's a good thing. But I mean, you know, what am I going to do? I'm going to do my job. I'm going to do it well. I'm going to hire the right people to help me. And things are going to start to look up, and the attitudes of others who are alongside me, I think that'll kind of pull those others in as they start to see positive changes.
Okay.
Jane, from the perspective of finances with the city, I mean, Clay's in a pretty good financial situation as far as we've all been told. Are you feeling, you know, good as you take those reins and start to oversee that budget?
I am. I'm a saver by nature, so I'm not going to go on a spending spree. There are some things that I think need to be, some monies need to be utilized in some specific ways. I'll know more about that when I see a budget and an expenditures list. That'll be one of the things that I'll be asking for from the city in this transition time, so that, like I said, we can make our plans and be ready to move forward.
Jane, one of the issues, and I don't remember seeing this as much in the council races, you may have picked up on something I didn't, but I know in the mayor's race, one of the issues was the form of government, Clay's form of government, using Ronnie Dixon as a city manager. I'm curious if you have talked to the incoming council, if you have any idea what their feelings are. Do they want to continue with the city manager type of setup? Would you recommend a change? Have you even had that conversation at this point?
I have not heard from anyone. I take that back. I have heard from 2 people on the council who congratulated me on the successful run for mayor. I have not heard from anyone else. The city basically was polarized on Team Charles or Team Jane. And that's what the voters, that's what you saw in the outcome of the vote, how close that was. And so many of them are loyal to Charles, and I hope that that they will give me a chance, that we can find common ground, common unity to do whatever is best for the city of Clay.
I know one of the things that we talked about a lot in the night that you both were here for the forum, it seems like one of the things that ignited your run too was definitely some controversy with the library board, and concerning obviously the library. Is that on pretty high up on your list, is to maybe reestablish a library board and make some changes there?
I will reestablish a library board. I'm not sure at this point that I would necessarily go back with the APLS. There is another, American Library Association, I think. I don't even know that I have to have an overseer per se, like that, to establish a library board. According to what I've read, and I am not a lawyer, the establishment of the library board, and they should be running the library and not be under city management, which is what we currently have. And I think that that's how I would like to see it done. I would like for the library board and the library director to have oversight of the library without it having to come under the city manager position.
Anything else you want to know?
No, I mean, you're our neighbor. We're going to see an awful lot, Jade. There's always been a lot of interaction with Clay and Trussville. I mean, we literally cross the street from each other. So we're looking forward to working with you, and happy to be your local newspaper, and whatever you need from us, please reach out and let us know.
Oh, I do have something else I wanted to ask you about, just because the conversation beforehand too reminded me. You did homeschool your family, and we were talking about that. We're talking about the Choose Act, but now you are the mayor of a city with some schools to look over. I mean, they are Jefferson County schools. We all know that, but the city of Clay definitely has a good relationship with the schools in its city. And so, any thoughts there about how to start to, become really familiar with those schools and get to know the people that lead those schools?
I have been involved a couple of years, let's see, off and on 11 years with either Chalkville Elementary or Clay Elementary through Discovery Club, which is a Bible class.
Yes.
So I know Dr. Finkley and some of the teachers in that school. I've met Mr. Wilson, the middle school principal. I have not yet met the high school principal.
Okay.
So yes, I will be making inroads into those local schools.
All right. Okay.
And I hope for more community involvement in that. I think that's one of the things that's been missing for a while.
Yeah.
Is more people actively involved.
Okay.
And for the first time ever, I joined the PTA.
Well, so that's a good start.
I'm kind of in your boat. I don't know the current high school principal, and I feel badly about that because I think it's the first Clay principal I hadn't known in 20 years. But I do know your middle school principal, and I certainly know Dr. Finkley at Clay Elementary. You got your two good ones over there, those guys.
Yes.
They'll do a great job.
Well, anything that you wanted to talk about that maybe we didn't touch on?
Not at this time.
Okay.
I'll let you know.
Okay. Well, you're always invited back here to share any news or anything about what you guys have going on in Clay. All you have to do is reach out to us, and so we'll be watching. We're excited to get to see what you all do for the city of Clay under a new administration. So.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jane. Best of luck to you.
Yeah, thanks for squeezing us into your schedule today. We really appreciate it. All right. All right, now we're going to turn to something you've really been passionate about this week. We were just mentioning homeschool public schools.
Yeah.
The CHOOSE Act is something we've been watching roll out here in the state of Alabama, which was the school choice bill that passed a couple years ago now. And but this week, it seems that state legislators and the Alabama High School Athletic Association have gotten sideways in some details when it comes to rules of the CHOOSE Act. And so the Tribune actually broke some of this news, and so I was going to let you touch on that for people. Pretty interesting topic there, and even really took us talking for a while yesterday for me to really get a handle on what was happening and why, and like what the motivation was.
Right. This is a major story. And it is one that is getting bigger by the minute. There'll be more information coming out today based on what our sources are telling us. We talked about it last week, I believe, on the show. The day before, I believe it was Wednesday, or Tuesday or Wednesday, Jacob Gurley, our new senior news editor here at the Tribune, broke a major story. It may not have looked all that major coming out of the gate, but it was, and it is getting bigger on a daily basis. So I'll bring you up to date. And first of all, congratulations to Jacob on leading in the reporting on this.
Okay.
Let's start with just a basic summary. When Alabama passed the CHOOSE Act in 2023, one of the things legislators did, it was a 2-year phase-in, okay? First it was kids with special needs. Then it was kids low income. It is now open to every student, every child in Alabama.
Right.
If your parents decide they want to take CHOOSE education dollars and move you to another school or another school district, whatever the parties agree to, there's now $7,000 per student available to do this. When the legislature,
or if you're a homeschool family,
it's
a cap on you can
$2,000 per child, up to I think 5 children.
Okay.
Not sure, but it's more limited because they don't incur the same cost as a parent sending the kid to a private school or a Christian school. So, but this is a big deal. School choice is sweeping the country. For the first time, Alabama was ahead of the curve on school choice, not the 48th state to do it, but we were actually, I think, the 7th or 8th state to do it.
Yeah, pretty early.
So, and Alabama's school choice bill has been held up as the model for the country. So a lot of people don't realize that, but it's being pointed to as this is probably the best way to do it. So in that law that was the CHOOSE Act, it was passed by the Senate, passed by the House, signed by the governor. It is a law, has been a law for 3 years. legislators had the presence of mind to specifically say in that law to the AHSAA, they called them by name, and said, nothing in this bill shall be construed as extra benefits for athletes or shall affect athletes' eligibility to play sports.
Meaning that if they change schools, if they pull out of their local school system and go to a private school,
I'm on oversimplified. Meaning nothing in the Choose Act can apply to eligibility for the AHSAA.
So if you're taking advantage of it, it doesn't affect your ability to play anywhere else.
Doesn't affect it. If you're taking it, it shouldn't affect you with the AHSAA. That is spelled out by name, called you by name, did everything but point at you and said, you can't do this. I've never seen a law that's that specific against or about a certain organization, but this one is, and they had good reason for it because they know the games the AHSAA likes to play. They are a quasi-public organization because they're not, but they're appointed by public schools and created by public schools. And they have long thought they are above the law. They will set their own rules, and they are unaccountable to anybody and everybody. You've just found out that's not the case, and it is going to change the way things operate in Alabama quickly. Here is the latest. There were multiple conference calls over the weekend between AHSAA people, state legislators, attorneys were involved. The AHSAA has a lot of opinions about the Choose Act. The AHSAA, based on information I'm getting from some of these calls, has a large number of people who are struggling to understand what the word law means. So we have legislators, and I'm not going to call the names of the ones involved in this conversation, and I know some are not involved in the conference calls but are having other conversations around. I'm not going to put any of those legislators on the spot. I'm not going to put any AHSAA officials on the spot by calling anybody by names. But I will tell you that Alabama legislators have explained the definition of law to AHSAA coaches and employees and board members in no uncertain terms. The latest information we have, and Jacob is actually working on the story right now, is that there was a meeting with AHSAA officials today. He has spoken with Ron Ingram. Ron Ingram tells him that they are still in the meeting. I have information that may suggest otherwise. I do think a decision was made in that meeting already, and I think AHSAA has, for the second time in a week, decided they will flip their finger at the Alabama state legislator and tell them we're not going to do anything. I think that's what's going to happen. I'm not reporting that until we have some kind of confirmation, but I do not believe the AHSAA, based on today's meeting, intends to take any action. They've ruled kids ineligible. They got kids sitting at home right now that can't go to practice.
This is affecting athletes currently who are unable to play because their parents took advantage to use the Choose Act to change them to a different school, and so that organization is not allowing them to participate.
Heath Harmon, the executive director, issued a memo a little over a week ago stating that accepting Choose Act dollars can make, under certain circumstances, can make players ineligible for a year, and they have ruled some seventh graders ineligible. That's how this whole thing started. The legislature has told them in no uncertain terms, we're not sitting kids at home and you're not breaking the law. I wrote an op-ed last week, and I made this comment in the op-ed. I'm going to repeat it. And this is what the AHSAA needs to understand. The legislature has 100% of the leverage. 100% of the leverage.
But so what will happen now? This is my question. Like, do you go to court?
I don't want to get ahead of anything. I know that our Speaker of the House and other legislators have a plan. Okay. We'll give Speaker Ledbetter an opportunity to make that public, and we'll see how it goes forward. I think you'll see immediate action once it's confirmed that the AHSAA officials met today and decided, in fact, not to take action and they were told point blank, you need to drop this, you need to roll back your rule, drop your rule, you need to do it now. Legislators were invited to a meeting today over the weekend, and they told AHSAA officials last weekend, no, we're not coming to a meeting on Thursday. You better deal with this Tuesday morning. It's Thursday, and the AHSAA has had conversations, but they've drugged this out. Listen, the legislators I've talked to, and I've talked to a few, are in no mood. They're not playing. They're not waiting until next week. They're not waiting until next month. They're not waiting until your January meeting rolls around when you discuss rules again. You are in violation of the state law of the state of Alabama. You are in direct violation. I think our legislators have every intent. And by the way, the governor's in on this conversation. House and Senate is in on this conversation. I don't know if the AG's office is in on it, but they will be very soon. I'm certain they will be.
What's hard to get
the arrogance of the AHSAA is beyond comprehension.
For the normal person just out there trying to understand, it seems like to me, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like the motivation is to punish people maybe taking that money and moving it from public school to private school.
It doesn't matter what their motivation is. It doesn't make any difference. The state law is the state.
Otherwise, it's confusing. Why do they care?
I wasn't in on the conversations. I think it's kind of all over the place. There's coaches involved. There are AHSAA officials involved. There are board members involved. There are legislators involved. So you've got a lot of opinions around there. But the point that the legislators made, and they made it very clear, is while your opinion is interesting, it is immaterial because this is a law and your opinion doesn't matter. You still have to follow the law.
Really interesting that the original wording of the law preempted, like,
they called them by name because they knew
the situation.
They knew who they were dealing with.
Super interesting.
Listen, I have defended AHSAA officials, especially executive board members. When somebody, and Hal Riddle from Trussville sat on that group for years and years and years. And I'm going to just tell you, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but if you're going to question the ethics of a Hal Riddle, we're going to the mat over that. Yeah. I will fight you on that, and I will fight you to the death because I don't know anybody more above reproach than Hal Riddle. I have defended this organization when they have simply interpreted the rules that their member organizations put in place. This is a different animal. They have taken it upon themselves to interpret a rule and directly violate a law, state law, that legislators called them by name and said, you better not do this, and they did it anyway. I have absolutely no sympathy for the AHSAA. When I say the legislature has 100% leverage, let me give you an example of that, okay? And no legislators told me they're going to do this, but I've suggested it a bunch, and I hope one of them do. If this isn't resolved, I say if it's not resolved by 5, I would call a special session. That's not the plan. They've got a plan, but I think they could end up with a special session. I would call a special session. I would put one rule in front of the House and in front of the Senate that says Alabama public schools, which, by the way, are owned by the state of Alabama, shall not spend any local, county, state, or federal tax dollars on AHSAA. Oh. They would be bankrupt immediately. Yeah. Only about half the schools in the state could even get the booster club to come up with the money to cover their existence. Most could not come up with that money. But it would show the AHSAA, and more importantly, they need to be talking to the Alabama Department of Education. In my view, public schools were opposed to school choice in Alabama. What they're doing is using athletics through public schools, through an organization almost completely controlled by public schools. Yeah. They're using the AHSAA to punish kids whose parents took education dollars for their kids. That's what I think is going on here. And I think the best thing the legislature can do is kneecap the entire organization, AHSAA, and sit down with Dr. Mackey and have a very frank conversation and tell them, you were ultimately responsible for this organization. We support public schools in Alabama. We're going to keep supporting public schools in Alabama. But if you ever do this again, we will flush you out of this state.
And right now it's affecting parents who have high school football players, but it won't be long if it's not settled before it's affecting girls sports and winter sports and spring sports. And so it could affect whatever your kid's involved in. It's going to be interesting to watch. it is a developing story.
The number one complaint about the AHSAA in Alabama for decades and decades and decades has been they do not care about the kids. This is an adult jobs program where they get to rule over everybody, and they take too much enjoyment in it, and they have never, ever put the student athletes first. The AHSAA went out and did the one thing last week to prove all of their detractors right, and they're not in a good place right now.
Okay. Well, on that note, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we will go from athletics to the Orient. Stay with us. Have you been to Discount Warehouse lately? New electronics, brand name makeup, and bedding arrive daily. Follow their Facebook page to find out about special sales on clothing, tools, and fireworks. Discount Warehouse, where you will never pay.
Exactly what to look for when I'm out for a stroll. A house with natural gas. They're not hard to spot. Just look for the unmistakable charm of a natural gas lantern and the meal tickets enjoying themselves in the backyard, cooking up perfectly grilled treats on their natural gas grills. Too easy. And providing toasty spots for a cat nap. Now this is the good life. Visit my website and learn why natural gas is a home's best friend.
Welcome back, everybody. Well, now we are going to change directions completely as we talk about the Orient Express at ACTA. Dan O'Rourke is here to tell us about the upcoming show. Dan, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you. And let me say up front, thank you guys so much for your election coverage. It was thorough, it was fair, it was professional. You do a great service to the city of Trussville, and I applaud you for that.
Well,
that cannot go unsaid.
That means a lot coming from you, Dan. A lot of people in Trussville know you as an ACTA guy. You're well known on stage and for your directing, but what a lot of people don't know is that you've got a television background. So when you make a compliment like that, it means something because you've been here before, and I thank you for that.
Thank you. I've been in some great newsrooms and some less great newsrooms. I've pretty much seen it all at this point.
Thank you.
Me too.
Okay, Murder on the Orient Express. We got set the scene for you here. We have some photos from some of our ongoing rehearsals, and we'll get those now. There he is, Hercule Poirot, the world's greatest detective. Just ask him. He's in Turkey, and he runs into his old friend Konstantin Book, the great local actor John McLaren there. He happens to run the train company and invites Poirot for the train adventure of his life. But they don't know what they're getting in for. They meet some good characters and some shady characters and some in-between characters. It's going to be a great adventure, but wait, this isn't a spoiler. There is, in fact, a murder on the Orient Express. Everyone's beside themselves, and so Poirot, with his helper, Monsieur Book, interviews all of the characters, puts on his intellect, which is mighty, and his interviewing skills, and goes through the rigors of investigating this crime. But who did it? Could it be the young nurse, the Swedish nurse, Miss Olsen, the train conductor, Michel, or perhaps the Russian princess, Natalia Dragomirov, or the Scottish Colonel Obanat? The traveling secretary of the deceased, Monsieur McQueen. Oh, there's Mrs. Hubbard, the American. What a piece of work she is. And the British, demurring young woman, Miss Debenham. Oh, and the Countess from Hungary. The Countess. Oh, so Orient Express takes off next Friday night, the 12th. It runs next weekend, 12th, 13th, and our matinee on the 14th. Same thing the following weekend. Friday night, the 19th, the 20th, closing matinee on the 21st. Just a wonderful cast. Some new, some veteran, and that's what I love about active theater and theater, community theater in general. How many hobbies or activities can you name where old adults, young adults, kids can come together, men and women, for a common experience? Not many, really, and ACTA remains, for many people, the hidden jewel of culture here in Trussville.
That was so great. I love the way you put the pictures together and made the video for us. That was fantastic. I do have a question. Who gets to play the dead person in the bed? Are they there the whole time?
Yeah, that's Adam, and he's new to ACTA, and he's got the toughest thing of all because he can't breathe while he's dead in the bed. You know, when I watch a TV show, my wife and I watch all kinds of BritBox and Acorn TV. We love European detective shows, and when they show the dead person, I'm always counting how many seconds can they hold that shot, because they can't go like that. I'm always watching for them to breathe, but he has to stay in there for several minutes, and I guess shallow breaths at best. Well, maybe he's listening. Maybe he's listening to Audible or something while he's there, deceased.
Dan, I do the same thing. I always look for the body to breathe.
Yeah,
I do that just instinctively. But that's a great role for Adam. Good news is you don't have any lines to remember.
Right. Easy to stay in character.
Yeah. Bad news is you have to hold your breath till you turn blue,
That's
which
right.
may very well happen if somebody screws up a line.
Well, that really does look like a really fun cast for a fun show.
It is, and we're proud of it. We're working hard, and there are tickets left. Of course, there are no bad seats at ACTA. You know, I don't think anyone sits more than 50 feet from the stage, but we have some first-class tickets left on the Oregon Express, so you have to get them. To discover who committed this murder, you must purchase 2 tickets. No. 6 tickets, s'il vous plaît.
Dan, I'm glad you mentioned the theater community in general, especially across the Tribune area. The interaction, it really is great. And if you're into that sort of thing, you know, there shows at Clay, shows at Leeds, shows in Trussville, and you can't miss. How in the world did you sneak John McLaren out of Leeds for a couple of months?
Oh, well, Brandy probably had enough of him for a few shows. John's a very hard-working actor and had just done a wonderful turn in Music Man over at Leeds, which is another wonderful theater.
It was fantastic.
And I even saw Brandy attend one of our rehearsals, and she's wonderful. Okay. They spend a lot of time together, so maybe Brandy's getting to do some things that she's been intending to do. Nope. But I love John, and it's just wonderful to have him on stage as well. He's
such a talent, and Sarah was in Music Man. It was the last show she did before she went away to college.
Right.
So, good deal. We're excited about this. This is a full show. You got 2 weekends and 2 Sunday matinees. Mm-hmm. You're anticipating sellouts, or you wouldn't have that many scheduled.
We do. We always try to fill the seats. There's nothing sadder than an empty theater seat. But we're selling well, but get on the phone, get as many of your friends in line as possible, and then go straight to actatheater.com and book your first-class tickets on the train today.
Really does sound like a fun dinner and a show.
Yeah, I don't know what anybody from ACTA knows about an empty theater. They hadn't seen one in about 40 years. So this will be a good one. Dan, as always, thank you. Thank you for your help in getting us the information so we can get it out to the community.
Great to be back with you. Thanks.
Thanks, and we're always happy to highlight the cast. And we're happy to do it, so thanks for being with us. Okay, we're going to take another quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about some other news of the day and week. Stay with us.
I'm Drew Lawley, General Manager at Courtesy Buick GMC. Come see us at Courtesy, where we have over 300 vehicles to choose from, including GMCs, Buicks, and certified pre-owned vehicles. Come see us at Courtesy or check us out at courtesybirmingham.com. Proud supporter of our area high school teams.
If you don't have a will, trust, or some kind of estate plan, you're leaving your loved ones with a lot of headaches. Probate fees and tax issues bring stress to your family while they grieve your loss. Cahaba Law Group is here to protect them and give you reassurance that your hard-earned money and assets are not lost to bureaucratic mayhem. They can help you create the ideal estate plan. If you're currently in probate, Cahaba Law Group can help assist you there too. Plus, they can handle more than just probate. They can serve you in just about any legal matter. Begin now by scheduling a consultation at cahabalaw.net.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Oh, you were going to mention the director of the after show.
Lynn Long is the director, and Dan talks about these almost, you don't want to use the word interchangeable, but they are almost interchangeable because they're such high quality theater people. Lynn can do a multitude of things. If you've gone to ACTA, you have seen Lynn do a multitude of things.
Yeah.
She'll do a great job directing this.
Well, that's so great, and it's fun to have because you're right. It is kind of a circle of group that works to take all this and present it to the community.
And when you've got multiple communities doing it, it means you've got twice or three times the productions to go see,
right?
To take your family to go see,
and then also time for kids to participate in. And
listen, a lot of communities have community theater. Very few communities have community theater at the level that we do in Trussville and Leeds, and Springville is that way. They used to do a big production down there, but a lot of their kids are participating in these others. A lot of Moody kids participate in Leeds and in Trussville, so we're lucky I think, to have a vibrant art scene in our communities, and I just encourage you to take advantage of it.
100%.
It is a cheap, great night out, period.
Absolutely. All right. Okay, let's turn to, this was really unfortunate news this week, just really sad news in the industrial park where a person was killed in like a cement working accident. I think the update of that identified a man from Odenville, Edgar Davis, who was only 29 years old. I think it was like a head injury is what it sounded like.
Yeah, Channel 42, Drew Taylor reached out and said, hey, we've gotten some details. I'm sending them over to you. We got the story pretty early yesterday that there had been an industrial accident and was likely a fatality. Didn't have a lot of details. I was able to talk to Chief Schatz a little bit yesterday morning, and he was still waiting to get details. In fact, he still had people on the scene when I was talking to him. I think this is a new business to the industrial park.
Okay.
It looked to me like, and I don't know the details, so I hate to speculate, y'all, but I'm just going to kind of tell you what I saw. It looked to me like possibly this is a new addition to the Commerce Park, Commerce Industrial Park, and it looks like it's kind of coming out of the ground to me. Like maybe they've got some basic operations going, but it looks to me like they're kind of still building up around it.
Okay.
I don't know the details, but Drew reached out and said, it's pretty bad. I'm sending this over to you, so Jacob will have it as well. But first and foremost, our hearts and prayers are with the family of this young man and his family in Odenville. Just such a tragic situation.
It really is.
We'll continue to follow it and provide more information as we get it. But he was identified this morning, as you said, a 29-year-old guy.
Oh, so sorry for his family. That's just a horrible story.
It is. Nobody expects somebody
No.
to leave for work and then get this kind of news.
No, absolutely. And so we did want to let people in the area know about that. And also a serious story this week with Argo. They announced, so we've seen other police departments do this. Just Trussville did something similar not too long ago, and we talked about it here on the show. But Argo police conducted this Operation Firewall, where basically they set up a sting, using different internet and social media type situations, and then ended up, arresting people for different types of child exploitation.
That's right. Trussville was involved and Trussville was involved with Jared Hudson's group, and I think Argo had worked with that group as well in the past. I'm not sure if that's who, they may be working with them in this case too. But Argo has opened themselves up to these investigations a few times with some great success. Really appreciate Kaysen and that department over there working so hard to keep us informed and allowing us to keep the community informed.
Yeah, and to be a department that's not that big, I think it's amazing that they can get involved in things on this level.
They're small but smart, and they really are effective for a small department. I think they're really good at using their resources and getting the most out of it. I've always said to a lot of towns that say, well, we can't afford a police department, I'd go have a conversation with Argo. I'd go sit down and I'd have that conversation, and I'd say, how are you doing it? Because they do a remarkable job with really very few people on that force. They have to be selective about when and how they do enforcement and how they even get involved with projects like this, because it can't take time away from the other responsibilities they've got, but they've done a world of good, in my opinion.
They have, and like you said, they're small, but they have an important interstate exit.
They do.
And they have done work there. I mean, they've been eyes and ears there, and we know have made some arrests that involved some possible human trafficking, and so they really stay on top of it for sure. Some of the charges that will result from that sting will include electronic solicitation of a child, traveling to meet a minor for unlawful purposes, possession or distribution of child sexual abuse material. It's pretty involved and involved multiple other agencies. So we wanted to make people aware of that. And then finally, Reader's Choice nominations are open. Many of you, if you're a regular Tribune reader, you're probably familiar with the Reader's Choice awards that we do every year. It kind of starts at the end of the year, and then we recognize the winners at the beginning of the new year and highlight them in some different ways. But right now, nominations are open. The story is on the website. It's also on the Facebook page, and you just click the nomination form link, and there's a list of things that you can nominate your favorite business for.
There is.
And then at some point we boil those down to finalists. But right now,
it's nomination
if you have
phase.
Businesses you love,
and nominations are open. It can be any business in any of our 9 cities, or the immediate area. I mean, we've always get a few that are just outside of city limits, but they're considered part of that market. First of all, I need to, for those of you who've been trying and without success, I'm sorry. I put the wrong link in there, and it took us a couple of days to get that straightened out.
But it is up and going.
But yeah, it was fixed yesterday, and you guys are aware of it because I immediately saw responses pouring in. This is it is the biggest thing we do for small businesses every year, and we love it. Small businesses in all 9 cities, because there are so many categories. Almost every small business has a chance to be recognized by customers or people in their community that use those businesses. I love it because it gives you guys, our audience, a chance to brag on those businesses that you really love, that you see go the extra mile, do that little something extra that you didn't expect. And local business owners are our lifeline. That is 80% of our jobs come from small business owners. So they're the ones who are employing your friends, your kids, your neighbors. They're the ones paying taxes. They're the ones sponsoring the Little League baseball teams that your kids play on, the basketball teams they play on. So I absolutely love that we spend 2 months every year of Tribune time totally focused on these small businesses in our 9 cities. And there's just some real gems out there.
Yeah.
And after this, every time we'll hear from people like, I'd never heard of so-and-so till they were a finalist here.
It is a great way
there.
Yes,
you know,
100%.
And that's my favorite place to eat. So you just never know. But we've got so many great small businesses in our coverage area. That's why this is a lot of fun.
Yeah. So, yes. Okay, well, that's all we've got today. We will be watching the website for updated stories on the whole Alabama High School Athletic Association.
I'll share with the audience, we actually got a call in the middle of the show.
So we'll have an update there, so be looking on the website.
The AHSAA legislative situation, the best way I could put it is to say it is fluid, as in like a whitewater river fluid.
Okay.
It is moving and moving fast.
Interesting.
So we will see how that plays out by the end of the day. I had one idea going into the show how I thought it was going to play out. Now things are happening so fast, I'm not sure exactly what we'll see. But we will, Jacob is on it. He'll stay on it. We'll report it as soon as we get it. Okay. We always thank you for joining us.
Yeah. Y'all have a great rest of the week and weekend. We'll see you next week. Have you been to Discount Warehouse lately? New electronics, brand name makeup, and bedding arrive daily. Follow their Facebook page to find out about special sales on clothing, tools, and fireworks. Discount Warehouse, where you will never pay.